After a time, you may find that having is not so pleasing a thing after all as wanting.
Here you have to only imagine your fondest wishes, either old ones which you wish to relive or new ones, anything at all. Battle, fear, love, triumph.
Sturgeon wrote the screenplays for the Star Trek, the original series episodes Shore Leave and Amok Time. The latter featured the first appearance of Ponfar, the Vulcan mating ritual, the sentence "Live long and prosper," and the Vulcan hand salute. Sturgeon also wrote several more Star Trek scripts that were never produced.
A shopping cart. Dad, I'll bet there's a time doorway in that pylon. There sure is. Let's go.
Sturgeon also wrote an episode of the Saturday morning show Land of the Lost, The Pylon Express, in 1975. His 1940 four-novella Killdozer was the inspiration for the 1974 made-for-TV movie. Marvel comic book. Two of his stories were adapted for the 1980s revival of the Twilight Zone. One, A Saucer of Loneliness, was broadcast in 1986 and was dedicated to his memory.
It spoke to me.
What did it say?
It spoke to me.
Get up and get out now.
Another short story, Yesterday Was Monday, was the inspiration for the Twilight Zone episode, A Matter of Minutes. In 1978, in collaboration with packager Byron Preiss Visual Publications, Heavy Metal magazine published a 3-part comics adaptation of More Than Human. The script was adapted by writer Doug Moench and illustrated by Alex Nino. The story was initially serialized in Heavy Metal magazine volume 2, issues number 2, number 3, and number 4. A trade paperback collection of the adaptation was co-published in 1979 by HM Communications, the parent company of Heavy Metal Metal, and Simon Schuster as Heavy Metal presents Theodore Sturgeon's More Than Human. It featured an introduction by Sturgeon himself.
Must be mighty touchy folks live out that way.
Son, if you had $100,000 stashed away, you'd be a mite touchy yourself.
What are you looking at?
There is more destructive force in this room than in all the explosive used in World War II.
With a cast as exciting as the wonders they encountered.
You may bulldog a steer, but you cannot bulldog me.
The thing I'm trying to get over to you is that this trip's dangerous.
Sturgeon, under his own name, was hired to write novelizations of the following movies based on their scripts: The King and Four Queens, 1956, Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, 1961, and The Rare Breed, 1966.
Theodore Sturgeon's classic novel, The Cosmic Rape, tells of humanity confronted by unity, an immense galactic mind intent on absorbing every living being. Through the reluctant eyes of one man, we see the battle between individual will and overwhelming collective power.
The book concerns an extraterrestrial hive mind named Medusa, which has assimilated many worlds and life forms and plans to absorb Earth as well. Dan Gerlich is an alcoholic who unknowingly ingests a spore from Medusa, which turns him into a host. The Cosmic Rape is a science fiction novel by American writer Theodore Sturgeon, originally published as an original paperback in August 1958. At the same time, a condensed or edited down version of the novel was published in Galaxy magazine as a short novel, probably condensed by the editor, under the title To Marry Medusa. It was reprinted in 1977 by Pocket Books.
Charlie John stepped into a world he could barely imagine. The Leadum met him without fear, their voices measured, their eyes untroubled. In their city of light and balance, the past he knew seemed small and distant.
Venus Plus X is a science fiction novel by American writer Theodore Sturgeon, published in 1960. David Pringle included it in his book Science Fiction, The 100 Best Novels. Charlie Johns wakes up in Leadum, model backwards, a world of gender-neutral people. He believes that he has been transported to the future, and the Leadum tell him that humanity has been destroyed by nuclear war. He meets Cease, the head of the Science One, who explains the A field, an invisible force field the Leadum use for everything from spoons to buildings. He meets Mealwees, the head of the Medical One, who explains to him how the Ledum came to be gender neutral by a mutation. Mealwes tells him that the Ledum have both genital organs, which drop down when they are aroused and retract when they are not in use. Venus plus X was a finalist for the 1961 Hugo Award for Best Novel. Joe Walton has described it as clever and thought-provoking, and noted that it is weirdly ahead of its time, and yet could not have been written in any other time. Graham Slight has observed that the novel has problems for the contemporary reader. Firstly, that the debate about men and women has moved on, and secondly, that the text reads peculiarly as if directed at men.
It was late afternoon when the man came to town, and the sky had the color of old copper. He walked with no hurry, yet everyone he passed turned to look again. There was nothing they could name about him.
He came without titles, without miracles, only a presence that asked us to love, and to finally mean it. In this small town, the ordinary began to shine. Doors opened, hearts turned, and the world looked different under his gaze.
Godbody was published posthumously in 1986. The plot centers around the arrival of a man named Godbody in a small town in New England and explores how his arrival transforms the lives of the residents.
Several scenes are hardly finished copy, but it is clear that the intended effect takes place.
Algis Budrys gave the novel a mixed review in his review column for the magazine of fantasy science fiction. He noted that several scenes are hardly finished copy, but concluded that it is clear that the intended effect takes place. Ben Bova, writing for the Los Angeles Times, called Godbody a good first draft, but, like Budrys, felt that Sturgeon's inability to fully finish the novel before his death meant that it did not reach its full potential. Godbody was nominated in 1987 for the Locus Award for Best Fantasy Novel, eventually placing fourth.
In 1956, Theodore Sturgeon, writing under the playful pseudonym Frederick R. Ewing, released a novel born from an elaborate radio hoax. I, Libertine, follows Jerzy Bellini's bawdy adventure.
I, Libertine is a historical novel that began as a practical joke by Gene Shepard, a late-night radio raconteur who aimed to lampoon the process of determining best-selling books. After generating substantial attention for a novel that did not actually exist, Shepard approved a 1956 edition of the book written mainly by Theodore Sturgeon, which was later claimed to have become an actual bestseller. With all profits donated to charity. Shepard was annoyed at the way bestseller lists were compiled in the mid-1950s. These lists were determined from sales figures and from the number of requests for new and upcoming books at bookstores. Shepard urged his listeners to enter bookstores and ask for a non-existent book. He fabricated the author, Frederick R. Ewing, of this imaginary novel, concocted a title, I, Libertine, and outlined a basic plot for his listeners to use on bookstore clerks. Fans of the show took it further, planting references to the book and author so widely that demand for the book led to unsupported claims of its inclusion on the New York Times bestseller list. Bookstores became interested in carrying Ewing's novel, which allegedly had been banned in Boston. When publisher Ian Ballantine, novelist Theodore Sturgeon, and Shepard met for lunch. Ballantine hired Sturgeon to write a novel based on Shepard's outline. Betty Ballantine completed the final chapter after Sturgeon fell asleep. Exhausted on the Ballantine's couch, having tried to meet the deadline in one marathon typing session. On September 13, 1956, Ballantine Books published I, Libertine simultaneously in hardcover and paperback editions with Shepard pictured as Ewing, looking as dissolute as possible. On the back cover author's photograph. The proceeds from book sales were donated to charity. A few weeks before publication, the Wall Street Journal officially exposed the hoax, already an open secret. I, Libertine tells the story of a social climber who styles himself as Lance Courtney. Most of the plot is closely based on the life of Elizabeth Chudley, and afterward states that the story of Elizabeth Chudley is substantially true, which could easily be taken as being part of the hoax, ironically. That was our show for today. What did you think? Were you a fan of Theodore Sturgeon? What was your favorite work by this prolific author? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments section below. And while you're at it, I'd be on the road if you subscribe to the channel, click the bell to stay informed, and check out the Carl Vincent Vampire Hunter franchise, which is also in the comments. Until next time, this is Ava, and for Kevin Givens saying live long and prosper. May the force be with you, and keep reaching for the stars.